This episode is brought to you by HASA. Liquid is clearly better. Liquid chlorine is the highest purity, works immediately, has no added cyanuric acid or calcium, and it will leave your pool safe, clean, and clear. And by the bottom feeder professional grade battery powered vacuum system. It sucks to clean pools, so cleaning pools sucks less. Get $100 off with code DVB100.
This episode is brought to you by Skimmer, the #1 pool service software in North America. With Skimmer, you can streamline your schedule, grow your revenue, and keep your customers coming back with 5-star service. Whether you're a one-person operation or an established team, Skimmer is your partner in success. Visit getskimmer.com/poolguy to try Skimmer for free for 30 days.
The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show.
Hi, welcome to the Pool Guy Podcast Show. In this episode, I'm going to talk to you about something that sounds counterintuitive, and that's being too nice on your pool route, being too friendly and too accommodating. And I'll go over some drawbacks that happen when you don't have the attitude of a pure business person with your pool business. Are you a pool service pro looking to take your business to the next level? Join the Pool Guy coaching program. Get expert advice, business tips, exclusive content, and get direct support from me. I'm a 35-year veteran in the industry. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, I've got the tools to help you succeed. Learn more at swimmingpoollearning.com. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't be friendly and nice and go the extra mile. That's not what I'm saying here. But you should also have professional boundaries and standards of what you expect from the customer. And I'll start off with one that I think gets out of hand a lot, and that is a constantly late paying customer. And the boundaries with someone like this need to be really strict and enforced, because it may be something that they do all the time with all their accounts. It may be a personality thing, or maybe they don't respect the pool service and it's something that's really low on their list of things to take care of, which is a lot of the times the case. They have their mortgage, their car payment, other bills to take care of, and by the time they get around to the pool service, they really aren't paying attention to it, and it's not something that's on their radar. Now, there are certain levels of customers that are late payers. There's the really extreme level, which you don't want to keep around on your route for long, and this is someone that just ignores your messages all the time. This is kind of irritating. You email them or you text them that their payment is late. You even send them like a Square payment link, and they ghost you basically. Not the best kind of customers, and you want to keep a really short leash on late payments, because mathematically and psychologically, it's really hard for someone to come current with pool service, and I found this to be true out there in a lot of cases. And let's just keep this simple. Let's just say you charge $150 a month for service, and you bill the customer, and they're 30 days late. Okay, that's $150 plus the current month of $150. That means that they have to cough up $300 to get current. And if you let that go for 3 months, which some people do, which is something that I would not recommend, they have to write you a check for $450. Now, if they're not paying you on time to begin with, having them pay you that amount after 3 months, or actually 2 months being late, it's really unrealistic that they're going to actually come current with you at that point. So I give customers just 1 month. After 1 month, if they don't pay me, the service is pretty much canceled. I don't go to the pool. And if the pool starts turning, all the better. They're going to call you and be like, hey, my pool's turning green, or it's turning cloudy. You haven't been here. Well, you haven't paid me. And so if you send me a Zelle payment now, I'll be at the pool later this week. Here's the current amount that's due, $300, whatever. Now, they may not want to pay you, and they may call someone else, and that's perfectly fine at that point. You just lost 1 month of service, basically, and you haven't really, lost too much. But if you go further and longer, it's something that doesn't get rectified, and you really have to train the customers that no payment means no service, and it's something they have to kind of do so they understand this, because, again, they may not see pool service or your bill as something that's high on their radar of importance, but when the pool starts to turn or the pool starts to get ugly, that moves up the list really fast, and they're going to pay you at that point. But if you keep doing the pool and they have no consequences, then of course they're not going to pay you. So it's kind of one of those things where the consequence of not paying the bill is no service. The pool's looking ugly. Pay me what you owe me, and I'll come back and correct it. And so, in some cases, you have to bill them for extra chemicals or an algicide when you correct the pool. And so if you let them know that up front, and if they understand that you have these strong boundaries, you're not going to lose any money, and you may train that customer to pay you on time going forward. And it's all about setting the right expectations with those customers that don't pay on time. The same thing when you install something at a customer's house. You kind of know the personality of that person. If you install a filter or a motor, you kind of want your payment right away because you put money out to get that particular equipment and you work for it. And I usually try to take payment on the spot from the customer, invoice them the same time you complete it and get the payment right away. And this is where the Square terminal comes in handy. I have a Square terminal. You can get the Square little thing you can put on your phone, and you can actually take the credit card payment right there on the spot from the customer and get paid for that. So that's kind of necessary a lot of times when you're doing repair work or installs for customers that aren't regular customers on your route. You want to get paid right away. And I talked about in a different podcast how you want to get, a 30% deposit on any kind of install ahead of time. But you do want to collect the payment right when you finish. You don't want to wait 30 days to kind of net that payment. You need to get paid once you finish that work. Just like if you call a plumber to unclog your toilet, he wants to get paid that day. He's not going to wait 2 weeks to get paid. Same thing when you install something or do some work for someone who's not a regular client. And even if they're a regular client, you do want to get paid right away for that. In most cases, I'll bill the customer for whatever I do at that moment. Sometimes I'll let it go until the end of the month for their regular service bill. But usually that's a customer that's been with me for a long time. And it's not something I do a lot, because you want to make sure you balance your account as soon as possible with anything extra you do to the pool. And the Pool Guy Podcast Show has teamed up with UPA to bring you affordable, reliable liability insurance starting at just $64 a month. Get up to $2 million in coverage, and the members of my coaching group get an even lower rate. Protect your business and your peace of mind. Sign up with UPA today by clicking the link in the podcast description. And there are certain things that you can do to really endear yourself to the customer by being nice and not really, being a doormat or being taken advantage of. And some things that I do are taking the trash cans. If I'm at the service account, I do this for elderly customers, and I notice that the trash cans are out there and I pull up, I'll bring the trash cans back for them. I think that's a nice little, pool service kind of asterisk. This guy is really good thing to do, and I'll do that for certain customers. Not a big deal for me. It takes me 30 seconds or 45 seconds to do it. And then if they get a newspaper, which is rare and rare now that anyone gets a newspaper delivered, but back in the day I used to actually bring the newspaper to their porch. Now I don't sit it directly in the middle of the porch because they can open the door and slip on it, but I've learned, not that anyone's ever done that, but logically I don't want to do that. I'll put it right off to the side of their porch on my service day. And they really appreciate that, or they did appreciate that, the customers that did get newspapers, which is not a lot of people nowadays getting it delivered. But that was something that I always did back in those days when I was getting when there was newspaper deliveries on my service route. And then, of course, anything generally wrong with the house, you're there. And if you just go there and you don't notify them of something that you notice that's a problem, that's a bad mark on your part. I'm pretty observant on a property, so if there's a sprinkler that's leaking, sometimes they don't even see it, but you're there and the irrigation turns on and the sprinkler is shooting 30 feet in the air, I'll let them know. I'll text them, hey, Mr. Jones, I noticed that in the backyard, right when you walk past your house near the pool, there's a sprinkler that's broken that's shooting water in the air. Let them know that. Or another time when you're walking out, you notice they have a flat tire, which has happened on a few occasions. I'll just text the customer, say, hey, I noticed you have a flat tire. You may want to, get that fixed or whatever. And these little things go a long way. They really are going to respect your business because you're looking out for their property as well as their pool. And these little things are really great at building, again, relationships with the customers. It really makes your business stand out there. Now, if you make a mistake, I always try to come clean with the customer because I think that's the best policy. And of course, being apologetic when something goes wrong or you do something wrong, which can happen. I mean, you're human and you make mistakes. So I've done that before where I've actually billed the wrong customer for the wrong thing before, and they call me up really upset. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm sorry. That was for another customer. I apologize. And you lose some brownie points, of course, but or if you make a mistake at their pool, which I've done before as well, those things do happen. Apologizing and owning up to it is really something that you need to do. I mentioned this before. I was at a pool and there were dogs sitting, and I didn't know they were dogs sitting, and the other dogs never run out, so I never really worry about the gate that much when I'm entering. But this particular pool, I opened the gate, and for some reason, the dog that was there visiting, quote unquote, just ran out behind me. I didn't even see the dog. It was so fast. The other dogs came up to me like, hey, what's going on? The regular dogs are fine. And then, of course, I text the customer saying, hey, I didn't know you had the spare dog back here. It actually ran up the street, and, sorry about that. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'll take care of it. And, it was a kind of a hard message to send, but it was something I had to do right away because I let the dog out, basically. And things like that do happen, so make sure the customer knows right away. And that goes a long way in your business as well, to have a good reputation and a good communication or good decor with the customer, that they understand that you can make a mistake and you're going to let them know right away when something like that happens. Another problem you run into by being too nice is a customer can take advantage of your time. They can call you and say, hey, you were here on Tuesday and, today's Thursday and I noticed the automatic cleaner's not moving. It's really not the end of the world. And a lot of customers want their cleaner working all week long and they're particular about it. And, I usually tell them that, I can take care of it the next stop. Next time I'm over there, it's not a big deal. But sometimes they are insistent that I get back over there and get it working, thinking that, my job is 7 days a week, basically, for their pool, which it isn't. So one good tip for this, and this is from another pool guy in my group that does this, and it's a really good tip, and I think you should utilize it, is I'll go back and do that for that customer the first time, and then I'll invoice them for $90, but I'll zero out the invoice saying that this is a courtesy call back, but anytime I go back to your pool, it's going to be $90 or $70, whatever amount you want to pick to go back to their pool. There's sometimes crossover, so it's not a big deal to go back there, but sometimes there isn't, and going back there is out of your way. Let them know that there is a cost involved with you going back there for something that's not an emergency. Now, if it's a real emergency, let's say the chlorinating tubing broke, the black tubing, and water shooting all over the place by the equipment area, the offline chlorinator black tubing, the stuff that cracks all the time and breaks off. Well, if that's a true emergency, I'll go back and take care of it, and I'm not going to charge the customer for that because that's a real emergency. Cleaner not moving or wanting me to change the time clock so that the spillway comes on while they're having dinner, not an emergency. Those aren't something that I'll go back for free and do. And I always try to train my customers. Again, it comes to training the customer that if they want something done to their pool, have me do it on their service day. So if they want their timer changed so that the spa spillway comes on at 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock, let me know, and I'll do that on my service day. Or if the timer is coming on too early and it's waking them up, coming on at 7 in the morning or whatever, let me know on my service day, and I'll do that for you at no charge, and I'll fix that. If the cleaner's not working, let me know, text me, but I won't usually get back over there until the service day. It's good to let me know that it's not working so I can bring the parts if I need to change something, but I'm not going to go there in the middle of the week and get something up and running for them. So as long as you have these proper boundaries and the customer knows that, hey, if I have to go back for this, it's going to cost them some money. Now, what about if they're having a party on Saturday and they want you to go on a Friday to clean the pool? Now, sometimes if their service day is a Wednesday, I can actually go on a Friday if it's in my area. Sometimes it's not in the area and I can't do that. And if I do go for a special service for a party, I will charge them a small fee. I wouldn't charge them a full service call sometimes, especially if they're a regular customer and they don't do this often. I'll charge them a small fee to go over there and clean it. I'll let them know ahead of time that's going to be, $65 to clean the pool before the party. Usually not a problem. It's in their budget for the party anyway. I mean, if you want to charge $90, whatever, you can do that as well. And usually they budget something like that. And it's your time and you're going out of your way to do it. And so your customer can't expect you to do it for free. Now, if I can move the service day and just stop there on a Friday instead of a Wednesday, I will do that for the customer and not charge them. But in a lot of cases, you can't do that, and you can't accommodate them in that way. But everything you do should have a nominal service charge associated with it, so the customer kind of builds a respect for your time. I mean, if you called your plumber to do some work for you, let's say he unclogged a toilet, and then a few days later you call him again because you have a problem with your shower, you're not expecting him to come there and not charge you for that. There's going to be a service charge for that. If he unclogged your toilet and it's clogged up again, he'll probably go there and do it for free because there's like a kind of a built-in warranty in that case. But anything new or anything above what he's doing, he's getting paid for. And the same for you. If you're doing extra things, if they had the trees trimmed, didn't tell you, which happens all the time, it's kind of one of those things that's notorious here. The tree trimmers will just fill the pool with debris, and you show up there and the pool is destroyed. Well, obviously you're not going to just do your regular service call, and you're going to let the customer know that it may be a couple weeks to get it back in shape. If they want you to clean the pool up and get it back in shape, there's going to be another, $90 or $100 as a special cleanup. And that's something they have to understand, that it's not you that caused the problem, it's the tree trimmer, and the pool's wrecked because of that. So these are things that you really just can't clean the pool and then tell the customer, oh yeah, I cleaned the pool up, the tree trimmer's made a mess. That's not going to get you anywhere, and that's, again, being too nice at that point. You have to have kind of business sense to where you're in business to make money. Spending 45 minutes or an hour at a pool that the tree trimmer is destroyed and not getting paid for it, that's the problem. Now, I get this all the time when there's a hurricane or a natural disaster and the pool is just a mess, like a fire here in California. It's full of ash. Do you charge extra for that? Well, it's one of those things where it's your time, and it depends on the customer, but in most cases, I recommend charging a cleanup fee because you're doing something that is an act of God, basically, and it's out of your control, and you should get paid for your time. So yes, in most cases, hurricane cleanup, or here in California after a fire, vacuuming out a pool that's full of ash, it is something that you have to charge extra for because you are spending more time there and more energy, and you're in business to make money. You're not in business as a union mission or volunteering your time, and so you should get paid for anything that's above your normal service because time is money, and you wouldn't expect a plumber or electrician to come over and do extra work without getting paid for it. Why would a customer expect you as a pool service provider to do that as well? They wouldn't expect their landscaper to replace broken sprinklers or put a new timer on without getting paid for it. And they shouldn't expect you as a pool service pro to do anything extra without getting paid for it either. Again, it's about setting those expectations so the customer understands that this is a business relationship, and if anything needs to be done besides the service you're contracted for, there will be a charge for that. And it's up to you if you want to do a nominal charge or a full service charge on that. It's something that you can decide in your business, and I think it's a lot of times it's a customer by customer kind of thing of what you want to charge, and situation by situation as well. If you're looking for other podcasts, you can find those by subscribing to my YouTube channel Monday through Friday. I post a new episode each day. And if you go to my website, swimmingpoollearning.com, on the banner, there's a podcast icon. You can listen to podcasts there. And if you're interested in the coaching program, you can learn more at poolguycoaching.com. Thanks for listening to this podcast. Have a great week, and God bless. This episode is brought to you by HASA, providing products that deliver clean, healthy water for every aspect of everyday life. The bottom feeder battery-powered vacuum system, portable, powerful, and only weighs 12 pounds. And Skimmer. Get Skimmer, America's #1 pool service software. Podcast listeners can try Skimmer for free at getskimmer.com/poolguy.